There is a contract you signed before you could even read. It was signed on your behalf by your parents, your teachers, and your government. The terms are simple, yet brutal. You will trade the prime energy of your youth. You will trade your waking hours. You will trade your autonomy. In exchange, you are promised safety. You are promised a steady paycheck. And, most importantly, you are promised a reward at the very end of the game. They call it the golden years. They call it retirement. But have you ever stopped to ask, who wrote this contract? Why is the age of freedom set at 65 when the body begins to fail? Why is the standard work week 40 hours, leaving you just enough energy to recover, but not enough to build? This is not a natural law. It is not physics. It is a designed system. An engineered reality meant to extract maximum productivity from you while keeping you just comfortable enough not to revolt. Welcome to the Sovereign Protocol. Today, we expose the 40-year lie. We're going to look at how the rules were changed in the dark, how Wall Street is eating your future, and how to tear up the contract before it's too late. To understand the hoax, we must go back to the source. The year is 1889, Germany. Chancellor Otto von Bismarck introduces the world's first old-age social insurance program. It was hailed as a humanitarian triumph. But let's look at the data. The retirement age was set at 70. The average life expectancy in Prussia at the time, about 45 years. The system was designed to be a lottery that almost no one would win. It was cynical. It was calculated. The state promised to take care of you, knowing full well you would likely be dead before they had to pay a dime. Fast forward to 1935. The United States creates Social Security. The retirement age is set at 65. Life expectancy was roughly 60. Again, the math favored the House. But then, something happened that terrified the planners. We stopped dying. Thanks to antibiotics, sanitation, and modern medicine, people started living to 80, 90, 100. The math broke. The Ponzi scheme was exposed. And the corporations and governments realized they had a massive problem. They couldn't afford to pay for 30 years of your leisure. So, they changed the rules. This is the part of the story most people don't know. Before 1980, the standard was the defined benefit plan, also known as a pension. The company managed the money. The company took the risk. The company guaranteed you a paycheck for life. Then came the Revenue Act of 1978, specifically Section 401k. It was a legislative accident. It was never intended to be the primary retirement vehicle for Americans. Ted Benna, the father of the 401k, has famously said he created a monster that should be blown up. Why? Because it allowed corporations to shift the risk from them to you. They moved from defined benefit, we guarantee you money, to defined contribution, you save your own money and good luck. Suddenly, you, a teacher, an engineer, a nurse, were expected to be a professional asset manager. You had to understand asset allocation, market cycles, and rebalancing. If the market crashes the year before you retire, bad luck. That's your problem, not the company's. They washed their hands of you, and they convinced you it was empowerment. But the shift to the 401k didn't just hurt you. It created a feast for Wall Street. Let's talk about the silent killer of wealth, fees. They tell you, don't worry, the fund only charges a 2% fee. 2% sounds small, doesn't it? It sounds negligible. Let me show you the real math. If you invest for 40 years, and the market returns 7%, and you pay 2% in fees, that 2% doesn't just reduce your final number by 2%. Because of the destruction of compound interest, a 2% fee can consume up to 40% or 50% of your total potential wealth over a lifetime. Think about that. You take 100% of the risk, you put up 100% of the capital, but the fund manager takes up to half of the profit. Whether the market goes up or down, it is the greatest wealth transfer mechanism in history, from Main Street to Wall Street, and it is happening automatically, every paycheck hidden in the fine print. If the fees don't get you, the currency debasement will. Retirement planning relies on a stable unit of measurement, money. But money is no longer a ruler. It is a rubber band that the government stretches whenever they need to pay for a war or a bailout. They tell you inflation is 3%. But look at your grocery bill. Look at housing. Look at healthcare. If your cost of living rises by 7% a year, but your safe retirement portfolio only grows by 5%, you are not getting richer. You are slowly bleeding to death financially. They advise you to save a nest egg. Say $2 million. By the time you retire in 20 years, that $2 million might have the purchasing power of $800,000 today. You reach the finish line, exhausted, only to realize they moved the goalpost another 10 miles down the road. But the numbers are only half the story. The true tragedy is what this system does to the human soul. This model creates a state of learned helplessness. We are taught to be terrified of the world without a steady paycheck. We are taught that entrepreneurship is risky, but relying on a single corporation that can fire you tomorrow is safe. We suffer from deferred living syndrome. I'll be happy when I retire. I'll take care of my health when I retire. I'll find my purpose when I retire. You are essentially saying, I will start living when I am dying. This is the ultimate slavery, not of the body, but of the imagination. You have been convinced that your time belongs to someone else. So how do we break the contract? The first step is to reject the word retirement. Erase it from your vocabulary. The goal is not to stop working at 65. The goal is financial sovereignty. Financial sovereignty means decoupling your time from your money. It means you stop being a battery for the system and you become the architect of your own economy. There are 3 pillars to this escape. Number 1, control. Stop handing your money to Wall Street blind trusts. Invest in things you understand and control. Your own business, real estate, skills that cannot be inflated away. Number 2, cash flow over net worth. You can't eat net worth locked in a house. You need cash flow. Assets that pay you every month. Dividends, royalties, rents. Number 3, scalability. Use the tools of the 21st century, code and media, to work once and get paid infinitely. This path is not easy. It is terrifying. It requires you to take full responsibility for your life. No government bailouts, no corporate daddy. But the alternative? The alternative is 40 years of waiting for a sunset that might never come. The cage door is open. It has always been open. You just had to realize that the security they promised you was an illusion. The only true security is your own competence and your own assets. The 40-year lie ends today. Not in 20 years, not when you are 65. Today. This is the Sovereign Protocol. We are rewriting the code. If you are ready to walk the path, subscribe. Share this video with someone who is still asleep in the Matrix. See you on the other side.